Now, as Linda alluded to, Medi-cal is a complex system. It is available, but it's better if you have assistance because it is terribly difficult to navigate through Medi-cal on your own. You know, as we alluded to, there are certain things that are exempt, and you can have these things and own them to get on the Medi-cal. Most commonly, it is the home, it is a wedding ring, a vehicle, an irrevocable funeral plan, a life insurance policy that has a cash value of not exceeding $1,500. But there's also things that you need to do while they're exempt, while you're on Medi-cal. If you die with many of these things in your name, they're not exempt after your death. And that's the problem that many people find themselves in. As Linda alluded to earlier, the state of California does have a recovery system. And the other day they contacted one of my clients where I had done the case over 10 years ago, and they wanted $90,000 back from this family. So the client called me, I lined up all the documents, I sent them up to the recovery unit and told them to look at all the documents, that their claim was invalid. They looked at the documents, called me back, and they said, "You are correct. This claim is invalid and we will drop it." And I think that's important, to have things lined up in such a way and structured in such a way. The real problem is people think that they can do it all themselves, and they can. And they can do it completely wrong. And often that's the case when you march forward in this area unassisted by somebody that's really qualified. Now, about the recovery department, you know, there's no sympathy there. There's no empathy there. And as far as I know about the state of California, that's the only department that's really effective and efficient. They are just tremendously great of robbing the elderly of their assets. And it's shameful, but it is effective and it is efficient. Now, one of the things that I also want you to realize, there's qualifying factors to get onto Medi-cal, and there's an income, there's an asset test, and things like that. But those are things that you don't really have to worry about if you're working with somebody that knows this area of the law. The thing that I want to do is, to some extent, after we finish this little communication here, is to have you have more questions than we've actually answered, to make you do something, to inquire, to get informed, to educate yourself. Now, Medi-cal is a federally and state-run program, and each state administers their own program, and each state has different requirements. I only work with the state of California. Part of the problem that I see is generally individuals are not even aware that they need Medi-cal planning until disaster strikes, and then many times it's just too late and assistance is unavailable to them. They've listened to the wrong people, good intentioned people I might add. Sometimes it's family, sometimes it's friend, and I've heard this and I've heard that, and these stories become fact, and then the next thing you know, the fact becomes law, and all of it's wrong. And these families have placed so much at risk by listening to individuals that weren't qualified to be giving them information to begin with. Now, the other thing that I've mentioned, there are specific strategies that need to be employed to have your assets set up the way that they should be. And because of fear and wrong decisions, many individuals put their lifelong assets at risk. Now, I will say this, that in the normal order of things, that we as parents want our children, other family members, close friends or charities, to receive our property when our need for them is no longer. However, unless the planning is done correctly, the inheritance or legacy that you plan to leave to your children or others are at a high risk of being taken from them because they did not know how to plan and help you correctly.